Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday morning to you. Welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. And it's great to have you with me. Hope you had an absolutely fantastic weekend. We had some really mixed weather, but overall it was very, very pleasant. And I was able to get out, able to piddle on one of my old cars there for a little bit. Now then, we have just concluded a 5-year study of the Olivet Discourse. That is a body of work that, unless YouTube does something weird, strange, and bad, will be available to anyone and to everyone, pardon me, for years to come. And I hope you'll take advantage of that. Pardon me. I even took a Mucinex last night, still having this problem. So I don't know what's going on. But nonetheless, that material is there for you. We are embarking today on a study that I must say to you is absolutely thrilling. I approach it with great excitement and just a smidge of trepidation. And the reason for that being is I have never, ever, ever taught a full course on the feast days. Now, mind you, I have given some sermons at the 2018 Memphis lectureship. I gave a lesson on the feast days. At the 2013 Preterist Pilgrim Weekend, which is available from our website, I gave a presentation on the correlation between Daniel 9:24 and following, and the feast days. But I have never embarked on an examination of the entire narrative, an examination of each of the feast days. And I have to say to you, when it comes to the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of Weeks, there's a whole lot that I do not know. And I can tell you that my examination so far of, pardon me, it's allergies. But my examination so far in my initial research on the Passover has just been staggering. It's so wonderful. It's so rich. And the same for the Sabbath. Listen, I've been involved in writing material or gathering material, writing a book on the Sabbath. The book, hopefully, if the Lord gives me enough time to finish it, will be entitled Celebrating the Eighth Day. It currently stands, the manuscript, at over 400 pages. I may have to break it up into 2 volumes because I'm not anywhere near close to being done with it. But that study of the Sabbath day is one that led me down many paths. Exciting, challenging, wonderful material. So I say all of that to give fair warning, all right, about any deficiencies in my understanding of the feast days that may arise. And I welcome your feedback. I know that some of you who watch my channel are very well read on the feast days. And I appreciate that. I really do. And some of you have given me some tremendous insight into the feast days. Now, one of the things that I want to ask you to do, and I have asked this before, and that is if you have some favorite resources. Now, I've been buying resources on the feast days for a good long while now. I've got an entire shelf on them. But if you have some really, really good historical information, if you have some scholarly literature on the feast days, then please let me know about it. I want to dig into this subject in such a way that not only do I better understand it, okay, but also so that I can share that information with others as well. So please, once again, if you have some really good, especially scholarly literature on the feast days and its meaning, be sure to share it. Now, one final thing before we get into our lesson today, and that is because the subject for the next good while is going to be on the feast days, I have decided to re-offer my 2023 brand new book, Resurrection Feast Fulfilled, an examination of the relationship between Israel's final feast day, i.e. Sukkot, and the resurrection, and a correlative related issue on the end of the law. Now, this book alone is normally $25.95. This book is normally $17.95. You add $7.95 standard rate shipping to each one of those, and you're talking about a good chunk of money. But for the rest of February, and I may repeat the offer, all right, but for the rest of February 2024, U.S. orders only, you get both books postpaid, delivered to your house, $36 total price. You're not going to beat that price anywhere, folks. So take advantage. Go to my website, donkpreston.com, BibleProphecy.com. There's a banner right up at the very top. Just click on it and order the books. Now then, I told you last week that what I was going to do to initiate our study, I just simply want to read Leviticus chapter 23. It's going to take a little bit. Still not seeing well. But I think it will be helpful for us just to get this information in front of us. If you want a corollary text, it's Numbers chapter 28. So beginning with Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of solemn rest. A holy convocation, you shall do no work in it. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all of your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, holy convocations, which you shall proclaim at their appointed times. On the 14th day of the first month at twilight is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread to the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. And on the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it. But you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord for 7 days. 7th day shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, When you come into the land which I give you, and reap its harvest, then you shall bring a sheaf of the firstfruits of your harvest to the priest. He shall wave the sheaf before the Lord, to be accepted on your behalf. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. And you shall offer on that day, when you wave the sheaf, of a male lamb of the first year, without blemish, as a burnt offering to the Lord. Its grain offering shall be 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour, fixed with oil, an offering made by fire to the Lord, for a sweet aroma, and its drink offering shall be of 1/4 of wine, 1/4 of a hin. You shall eat neither bread, nor parched grain, nor fresh grain, until the same day that you have brought an offering to the Lord, and it shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all of your dwellings. And you shall count for yourselves from the day after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be completed. Count 50 days to the day after the 7th Sabbath, then you shall offer a new grain offering to the Lord. You shall bring from your dwellings 2 wave loaves of 2/10 of an ephah. They shall be fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven. They are the first fruits to the Lord. And you shall offer with the bread 7 lambs of the first year without blemish, 1 young bull, two rams. They shall be as a burnt offering to the Lord with their grain offering and the drink offerings, all offerings made by fire for a sweet aroma unto the Lord. Then you shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats as a sin offering, and 2 male lambs of the first year as a sacrifice for a peace offering. The priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits as a wave offering before the Lord with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. And you shall proclaim on the same day that it is a holy convocation to you. You shall do no customary work on it. It shall be a statute forever in all of your dwellings throughout all of your generations. When you reap the harvest of the land, you shall not wholly reap the corners of your field when you reap, nor shall you gather any gleanings from your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am the Lord your God. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you shall have a Sabbath rest, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it. You shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Also, the 10th day of this 7th month shall be the day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation for you. You shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. And you shall do no work on that same day, for it is the day of atonement, to make atonement for you before the Lord your God. For any person who is not afflicted in soul on that same day shall be cut off from the people. And any person who does any work on that same day, that person I will destroy among his people. You shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all of your dwelling places. It shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest, and you shall afflict your souls on the 9th day of the month at evening. From evening to evening you shall celebrate your Sabbath. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day there shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it. For 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. On the eighth day, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. It is a sacred assembly, and you shall do no customary work on it. These are the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire to the Lord, a burnt offering and a grain offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything on its day. Besides the Sabbaths of the Lord, besides your gifts, besides all your vows, and besides all your free will offerings which you give to the Lord, also on the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruit of the land, you shall keep the feast of the Lord for 7 days. On the first day there shall be a Sabbath rest, and on the 8th day a Sabbath rest. And you shall take for yourselves on the first day the fruit of beautiful trees, branches of palm trees, the boughs of leafy trees, and willows of the brook. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. You shall keep it as a feast to the Lord for 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in booths for 7 days. All who are native Israelites shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So Moses declared to the children of Israel the feast of the Lord. A very, very quick couple of observations. Each of these observances, each of these holy convocations was, in fact, indubitably and undeniably a feast to the Lord. There is no distinction whatsoever made in the importance of one feast day over the other. Now, it's interesting that in later times, the Jews called Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, the most important of all of their feast days. It is also interesting that they call Sukkot the Feast of our Joy and the Feast of the Nations. So in later times, they began to assign different appellations, different designations, different descriptions. But from the Lord's perspective, each and every one of the feast days was of equal value. I want you to notice there is one caveat to this. In regard to let me turn back there and look at it. In regard to the Day of Atonement, anyone not observing that day as they should, or as it says, for any person who is not afflicted in soul on that same day shall be cut off from the people. And any person who does any work on that day, that person I will destroy from among my people. In other words, it was a death penalty. I suppose that's one of the reasons why the Jews designated it as the most important feast of all. I hope this reading has helped us to get some basic facts laid out in front of us that we're about to explore. So the very first feast day of the Lord is the Sabbath. We will begin an examination of the Sabbath on the flip side. I'll see you there.